I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, February the 16th, 2015. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu flew to Berlin yesterday to meet with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The two leaders spoke at a joint press conference today where Merkel was asked about peace efforts and the current situation between Israel and the Palestinians. She said in her remarks that Germany recognizes the terror threat that Israel faces, but also wishes to promote peace. Merkel said now is undeniably not the time to make a major step forward, but we can achieve improvements here and there, and we agreed Germany will help in terms of financial support. Merkel also addressed the Iranian threat and said that Germany has made it very clear that normal relations with Iran will not happen until Iran recognizes Israel's right to exist. Netanyahu also spoke of prospects for peace at the conference today. He specifically addressed a French initiative that calls for an international peace conference. The French have said that if that conference failed, they would recognize a Palestinian state. Netanyahu told the press in Berlin today that the only way to peace was, quote, through negotiations without preconditions directly between the two sides. The prime minister said, apparently referring to the French plan, anyone who tries to divert from that path will not promote successful negotiations. Earlier today, French Ambassador Patrick Maisonneuve met with Israel's Foreign Ministry Deputy Director General for Political Affairs, Alon Ushpiz, in Jerusalem, and presented him details of the French plan. Meanwhile, the Times of Israel reports that the Foreign Minister of the Palestinian Authority praised the French plan and seemed to dampen any hopes for direct talks with Israel. Riyad al-Malki told a press conference in Japan yesterday, "We will never go back and sit again in a direct Israeli-Palestinian negotiations." Malki said a multilateral framework was needed to solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He is visiting Japan together with PA President Mahmoud Abbas. United States Ambassador to the United Nations Samantha Power is in Israel. Power arrived on Saturday for a 4-day visit to Israel and the Palestinian Authority, her first visit to the region as UN envoy. On Saturday, Power met with PA Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah in Ramallah, and yesterday she met in Jerusalem with Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and with Prime Minister Netanyahu before his departure for Berlin. Power met today with Israel's Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon. The State Department released a statement saying that Power and Ya'alon discussed the situation in the West Bank and Gaza, also shared security concerns in the region, as well as ways in which Israel could play a role in UN peacekeeping efforts. The Damascus Gate in Jerusalem's Old City continues to be a terror target. Sunday night, 2 Palestinians, one of whom was later identified as a Palestinian police officer, shot at Israeli border police officers with automatic weapons. They were shot and killed by Israeli forces. No Israeli forces were injured. Yesterday afternoon, also at the gate, a Palestinian teenage girl pulled out a knife at border police officers. She was arrested. And just this morning, a 26-year-old Palestinian man from the Jenin area in the West Bank was stopped near the gate, where police found a knife hidden up his sleeve. He was arrested and taken for questioning. And several incidents to report to you about that took place on Sunday. A Palestinian man tried to stab officers at a checkpoint south of Jerusalem. He was shot and killed. Also, 2 Palestinian teens near Jenin in the northern West Bank opened fire at security forces there. They were shot and killed. And border police officers prevented a stabbing near the Tomb of the Patriarchs in Hebron in the West Bank Sunday when a 14-year-old Palestinian girl pulled out a knife and tried to stab a police officer. She was shot and wounded and evacuated to Shaarei Tzedek Medical Center for treatment. Thousands gathered in Copenhagen on Sunday to mark the 1-year anniversary of 2 terror attacks in the city that claimed the lives of filmmaker Finn Nørgaard at a cultural center and Jewish security guard Dan Uzan outside a synagogue. Both men were shot dead by 22-year-old Omar El Hussein on the night of February the 14th and early hours of the 15th of 2015. Thousands came together to honor the men with flowers and a walk in silence lit by candles along the route between the two locations of the attacks. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, February the 16th. At 7, Israel's former U.S. Ambassador Michael Oren discusses the U.S.-Israel alliance in a program of the UJA-JCC of Greenwich and the Israel Project. At 8 o'clock, Vice President Joe Biden addresses the 2015 URJ biennial in Orlando. At 9, Mark Golub sits with Israeli journalists to talk about issues like the Iran deal and the Israeli-Palestinian peace process, followed at 10:30 with the Connecticut Friends of the IDF as they honor the men and women who serve in the Israeli army. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, J.J. Goldberg, editor-at-large of the Jewish Daily Forward and author of The Jewish Americans, discusses the success of Bernie Sanders with Mark Golub on election 2016. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, February the 16th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.